everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Bellingham. I am Andrea Asebedo, and pleased to be here with all of you, either in person, which is always lovely, or on our live stream. Amber Darlin, our music director, is singing at the CSL Calgary Center today and took her family on a road trip, so that was fun. And so we have some wonderful folks who are going to come up and sing for us, Yam, and I always want to say Yin, but it's not Yin. Jesse. So would you guys come on up and let's welcome them.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here. I'm Jessie.
So glad you're here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody.
And we often sing under a group called Earth Practice, which Yin, who was mentioned, is part of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're going to share some music with you all today. We'll teach some parts of the songs, but a lot of them you can catch, and please feel free to jump in and sing with all of it.
And we heard that the theme for today's talk is around the poem, The Drummer. And so I'm sure we'll unpack that soon, but to the point of that music which we hear, that inner music, that inner freedom, we chose this song to teach you guys. So who's interested in singing today with us for this part? Oh, okay, all right. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is we'd like to teach you just this one part of the song, and then we'll see how that goes, and you guys can roll with it if you like with the rest. Okay? So here's the part we're going to teach. It goes like this. We'll do it an echo style. So I'll do a part, and then you guys can try. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. You want to try that? Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Very good. Next part goes. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Okay, next part's just like the first. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. And the next part, this is where it changes. It goes, freedom is the sweetest love I know. You want to try that? Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Okay,
Beautiful.
Let's put those together. Ready? A one, a two, a do. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Yeah. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Let's do that again. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. The blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Okay, we're going to do this part together. Me and Jesse. What is my calling? What does it mean to be free? What is my purpose? Oh, just to be me. What is your calling? What does it mean to be true? What is your purpose? Oh, just to be you. From the top. The blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. Yeah. Blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows. Freedom is the sweetest love I know. What is my calling?
What is my calling?
What is my calling? What does it mean to be free? What is my purpose? Oh, just to be me. What is your calling? What does it mean to be true? What is your purpose? Oh, just to be you. What is my calling? What does it mean to be free? What is my purpose? Oh, just to be me. What is your calling? What does it mean to be true? What is your purpose? Oh, just to be you. Oh, just to be me. Oh, just to be we. The blossom rain falls as the blossom wind blows.
Hear a little bit more from them in a minute, but why don't you stand and take a moment to greet people that maybe you don't know or you do. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. You want to ring? I'll ring the bell. Everybody, okay. Have a seat, everybody. And teachers, I'd like to invite our teachers to come up front. Come on up. And we're going to have an invocation from practitioner Kit Zinn.
Thank you. Good morning. And if you haven't silenced your cell phone, please do remember to do so. I am Kit Zinn, your practitioner for the day, as is Andrea Wood, who is also here this morning. So thank you, and please join me. We've had such a wonderful lead-in in the song this morning, talking about and singing about the uniqueness that each of us has, that each of us is the divine and the expression of the all that is. Spirit actually needs and wants and desires each and every one of us to know itself more uniquely. So there are no duplicates, there's no competition, and every note of the song is important. So I trust and recognize the discovery as we connect more fully with this morning's message on the true freedom that we have by relying on the all that is, for knowing that I am never separate. None of us is ever without that energy, that love, that compassion, and that knowing wisdom. With a very grateful heart, we release this with an expectancy of the good in this morning's message and the ongoing benefits of this day. And together we reaffirm, and so it is.
All right, so I'd like to invite any children that are here to come on up. And Yam and Jesse are going to sing us a wonderful song, so come on up. And I want to introduce again Lily and Georgia, and Joe over there. Oh, yeah. Oh, and Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. And Cheryl and Joe are with the middle schoolers who are 6th to 8th grade, And Lily and Georgia are with the kindergarten to 5th. And you guys have a song for us. Let's hear it.
And the words might be a little different than they are back behind us, but we hope you can roll with us.
So this is a song that we sing with our 8-year-old also.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. I'm reminded that humans are capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded that humans are capable of beauty. Reminded that humans are capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded that humans are capable of beauty. Beauty. Oh, beauty. Oh, beauty. Weird. I'm reminded we're humans and we're capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded we're human and we're capable of beauty. Reminded we're humans and we're capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded we're humans and we're capable of beauty. Beauty. Oh, beauty. Beauty. Maybe one more time. And this time, feel free to say it to yourself. It's a good reminder. I'm reminded I'm human and I'm capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded I'm human and I'm capable of beauty. Happening right now. Reminded I'm human and I'm capable of very beautiful things. I'm reminded I'm human and I'm capable of beauty. Beauty, so much beauty. Beauty. Beauty.
hey, everybody, have a wonderful time. Follow those wonderful teachers of yours. And for those of you just joining us, we have an almost entirely outdoor program that we do with our kiddos. The elementary school kids are doing nature and mindfulness, and Joe and Cheryl's group are doing Jane Goodall Roots and Shoots, discovering about that. And so we get to have another song, so wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you again so much for having us. All the songs that we've shared come through us, so they're under Earth Practice or Yam and Jesse, and they're all original songs. We say they come through us because we believe that all of this is made of song, and when any of us listens in, that there's song here, and anybody can catch it. It's nothing special in some ways, and I just want to give a little note that if you like singing with us, we actually have a singing podcast where a lot of these songs that we share are there, and you can learn them that way and hear other songs from other people. So just if you want to check it out, it's called Bliss is Ordinary. You can find it anywhere that you find podcasts, and we song teach on there, and we'd love to sing with you more.
And it's been I think the last time we were in this building physically was in the before times, like before the pandemic. But a few people have asked, like, how have you been? And it's like probably one of the more exciting developments was in that time of separateness physically and isolation, we were like, how can we still sing together? And so we've given birth to this singing radio show in an effort to help people who want to get more in touch with their own authentic voice to be able to work on that, in their own time. And we're finding out that it's working. My mom's singing more, which is a big deal for me. Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to tune in and sing with us, you can do that. Bliss is Ordinary.
Yeah, Bliss is Ordinary. Yeah. So this song came through Yam.
This song comes through from the ancestral lands of the Lummi and Nooksack peoples right here, and Jalaluddin Rumi, whom I'm certain many of us are familiar with. The river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. The river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows, river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows, the river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows, river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows, river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. You can't stop it. The river's going where it's going. It will dissolve itself into the mouth of the ocean. Why try and fight it? The river's going where it's gone. It wants to give itself right back to where it came from. Forgetting its name, it wants to give itself right back to where it came from. Oh, and the river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. The river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. The river water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. River water flows in all the rivers at once. River water flows, river water flows. You can't stop it.
The river's going where it's gone. Give itself into the mouth of the ocean. Why try and fight it? The river's going where it's gone. It wants to give itself right back to where it came from. Forgetting its name, it wants to give itself right back to where it came from. Forgetting its name, give yourself right back to where you came from. Give yourself right back to where you came from.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Jesse and Yam and Kit have all, really captured what I want to talk about as well, which the title of the talk is A Different Drummer, and it's based on a quote by Thoreau. And you may be familiar with that quote. I grew up with it. When I was young, I tried to read Walden, and I got about 7 paragraphs in and then had to go back. And then I got about 8 paragraphs in and then had to go back, because every time it'd be like, what? But this makes sense. And actually, he makes beautiful sense, but I was young enough that I had to kind of get my brain around what he was saying. He said, and of course, back then, the pronoun was man, so forgive him, okay? If he was here now, he wouldn't be doing that. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it's because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however measured or far away. And so, Thoreau, I don't know if you know this about Thoreau, but Thoreau was Ralph Waldo Emerson's gardener. And Ralph Waldo Emerson and the Alcocks and Nathaniel Hawthorne used to have these deep spiritual conversations in Emerson's living room. And Thoreau was not invited because he was the gardener. But what he would do, because he was walking to a different beat, is he would sit outside in the hallway and listen in. And eventually, he would say things like throw them into the room, and so finally they kind of, invited him in. And Emerson actually, for me, was a little bit easier to understand way back when. Emerson essays were required reading for students of the science of mind way back when I got involved, because Ernest Holmes was raised in a Maine farmhouse with no heat except a wood stove, and the only books in the house were the Bible and Emerson's essays. And so on those long, cold winter nights in Maine, he memorized all the essays and the Bible. And so when you read his writings, you feel Emerson coming through. And so because Emerson, Thoreau, and Holmes were all kind of an era, maybe you can catch what they were saying. So let me read it and see if I can take out some of the antique language. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Accept the place that divine providence has found for you. Accept that the connection of events in your life matters. Great men have always believed this and confided themselves childlike to the genius within them, betraying their perception that the eternal was stirring at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. And now we too are like them and must accept in the highest mind the same destiny. Not pinched in a corner, not cowards fleeing, but benefactors, aspirants to the almighty effort that is moving in us. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So, Emerson's words and Thoreau's and Jesse and Yam's and Kit's all sort of go to what I wanted to talk about, because this month's theme is called True Freedom. And it certainly could be applied in political circles, but here we're applying true freedom to what does it mean to be spiritually free. And I wanted to actually start with an interesting expression by Rabbi Remy Shapiro, who is a journalist who writes all the time for spirituality and health. And he's like an advice columnist, only about spiritual stuff. So it's kind of, I like it, what can you say? I'm kind of in that world. And so someone asked him, said, my mother is religious. Anybody? And I'm spiritual. We know there's a difference, but we can't articulate it. How would you compare religion and spirituality? Would you like to know what he said? I thought it was brilliant. Religion is a map. Spirituality is a compass. Religion as map leads you to a fixed destination: salvation, enlightenment, atonement, etc. Spirituality as compass has no destination, only direction. While you may be traveling northward, you will never arrive at north. In this way, spirituality as a compass keeps you moving toward compassion without the conceit of having arrived and mastered it. While the two need not be opposed to one another, I personally value compass over map and journey over destination. Isn't that beautiful? Amazing guy. And so when we begin to think about spiritual freedom, and I know I'm actually singing to the choir, we realize that, often our own journey, like the songs that are weaving the world, our own knowing of spirit, of the divine moving through all things, the universal energy, is weaving us and has taken expression in us and through us and has an intent. The intent is a compass rather than a map. And so for each of us, we're called to a particular way of expressing ourselves and a particular way of doing in the world that often when we were growing up was not part of the map. And so for many people that are drawn to the science of mind philosophy, they've had to wrestle with the map. They've had to understand that their own journey doesn't actually fit other people's definitions of what should and shouldn't be happening in an individual life. And that's a wrestle. There often is suffering that accompanies that. And so in the science mind philosophy, what we talk about a lot is that we actually believe that in the language of Jesus, the kingdom of heaven is within us, just like he said, but there's a tendency to forget that he said it that way and think that somehow the kingdom of heaven is somewhere else or if you behave in a certain way. But Jesus never said any of that. He said the kingdom of heaven is within. And so for us, we take that to mean that there is within us a divine reality that we can discover and live with, in, and allow it to move through us, which is beautiful. To get to the point where it's beautiful, though, we have to do what Emerson and Thoreau are pointing to, and that is we have to honor the fact that we may be marching to a different drummer, that the divine music that's flowing in us may not match societal ideas of what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. And it isn't licensed to all of a sudden just, harm because we're listening to our music, but instead rather to listen deeply enough to find that heavenly song and begin to allow it. Now, in allowing it, we're going to go out of agreement with people. We always do. I certainly did. At my ordination, someone walked up to my mother, a staunch Episcopalian person, and they said, "Did you know that Andrea was going to be a minister forever?" And she went, "No." Just like that, and walked away. By then, I wasn't taking that personally anymore. But it did, I had to go out of agreement with how they thought my life was going to unfold. In their minds, I was supposed to be a socialite. I was supposed to, they gave me all these lessons and all these things I could care less about. I know how to ride a horse, but I didn't like it that much. Sorry, horse people. I learned how to play tennis, and I was really, really good at it. I got trophies. I still like tennis. I just don't play it very much anymore. On and on the lessons went to prepare me to climb the ladder, to be what? Not a minister. And that was a gentle path compared to some who have realized that they're living in a body that doesn't match the gender that they feel, or that their sexual identity doesn't fit the mode that society for many, many, many decades centuries has said is the right way, right? And it goes on and on and on. So there's suffering, and I wanted to talk just briefly about the suffering, because to understand our path, we have to honor the difficulty that made us choose it anyway. And so I brought a story. Would you like to hear it? As you know, I was trained by a Jungian. I'm not a Jungian analyst. I'm not even much of a Jungian anymore. But in that world, there's so much beauty and so much understanding. And so this is a story about a Jungian psychologist who attended a professional workshop that included a film by one of Carl Jung's last pupils, the great dream analyst, Marie-Louise von Franz. After the film, a distinguished panel of senior Jungian analysts, and you don't get to be a senior Jungian analyst for like 25 years. So these were people that knew dreams, knew how to analyze them from that perspective. And this panel also included Carl Jung's own grandson. And the panel was responding to questions, written questions from the audience that would be sent up to the stage. So one of these cards recounted a horrific, reoccurring dream in which the dreamer was subjected to Nazi torture and atrocities and stripped of all human dignity. A member of the panel read the dream out loud. As she listened, the psychologist who was attending the workshop began in her own mind to formulate a dream interpretation in her head in anticipation of the panel's response. Maybe you do that too. It's like, I know what they're going to say, and figure it out. It really was a no-brainer, she thought, as her mind busily offered her symbolic explanations for the torture described in the dream. But this was not how the panel responded at all. When the reading of the dream was complete, Jung's grandson looked out over the large audience and said, "Would you all please rise? We will stand together in a moment of silence in response to the dream." As the audience stood, the psychologist anticipated the discussion she was certain would follow this. But when they all sat down again, the panel went on to the next question. So standing in silence was it. The psychologist didn't get this at all, and so a few days later, she asked one of her teachers, who was a Jungian analyst, about that episode. And he said, "Oh, well, there is in life a vulnerability so extreme, a suffering so unspeakable, that it goes beyond words. In the face of such suffering, all we can do is stand in witness, so no one need bear it alone." For me, that sums up what we here at our center are seeking to do. It's to provide a place where no one stands alone, that they know they are loved just as they are, just as their expression is. No need to try to fit in, because none of us here do. No need to pretend to be anything other than. And to stand with one another through all that life brings us. So a very powerful description of what we're trying to do here, and not just with suffering, but with joy as well, with everything. And for me, I believe that the more free we become in our own truth of who we really are, and we live from that place, as vulnerable as that makes us feel, then the freer we become, and the freer we become, the more permission there is for other people to also experience and express who they are in truth. And that's what will change the world, really. That's what we all need to be doing more of. And of course, what keeps us from doing that sometimes is the vulnerable place that we have to stand in order to do that, to go out of agreement with societal norms, and to just be how we are, regardless. So I brought another story about what it would take to be able to do that, and I'll share that with you. And this is from my BFF, Jack Cornfield, who really isn't my BFF, but I think he is, because he always speaks about what I think is important. And see if you see what I see in this story he tells about a professor and a master gardener called Alan Chadwick. Alan Chadwick, some of you may even know of him because he was the pioneer of biodynamic methods in gardening. And he taught at the University of California, Santa Cruz. And so he's a big name, and he's a big presence in the biodynamic world. And so Chadwick was famous for taking his classes out to places in the area that had been neglected at the very least and often just trashed. So this story is about him taking a class to a junkyard lot that was filled with rusted out cars, broken glass, chunks of cement, sand, and all kinds of abandoned trash that I won't even go into. It was ugly. And he asked the owner of the lot if his class could use the lot for an experiment to grow flowers and vegetables. And the owner said, sure, but you're crazy. That soil is gone. It's dead. Well, the students put months into revitalizing the soil, and this garden later became famous for its extraordinarily delicious vegetables and gorgeous flowers. That's the story. And the way I took that story is that you and I need to do the same thing with ourselves, right? That there are places in our hearts and minds that they maybe have been neglected at the very least, and maybe they've been filled with some junk. You know, junk like negative self-talk, junk like shame, those kind of junks, you know. Not chunks of cement, although sometimes that's how it feels. Not rusted out cars, but maybe rusted out old ideas of who we are and what's possible. And just like the biodynamic method in gardening works, when we begin to work with ourselves and revitalize those areas by becoming truer and truer to ourselves, things begin to grow in us that were not possible before. But what that takes is exactly what the gardeners had to do. It takes intention and awareness. And I can still remember going to the Omega Institute in New York when Thich Nhat Hanh came over from France. And I had just become a student of his, and I was absolutely twitterpated by this guy. Old Vietnamese monk. I was glad my parents were dead because they would not have understood at all. If they didn't understand I was a minister, whoa, now I have a Zen Buddhist Vietnamese monk for a teacher. And so I went because I needed what he was teaching to help me revitalize the soil of my life. And we were sitting, Rhinebeck, New York in the summer is, anybody from New York? Okay, yeah, you know, so okay. Very humid, very hot. And we were there were so many of us that they had erected one of those tents, giant tents, with canvas that was dripping on all of us because it was so humid and so hot. So we're in this tent, and we're the last day, and on the last day, he always answered questions. And the question came, why do we need to do these practices? In particular, people were not thrilled with the Buddhist injunction to not use alcohol or drugs, you know? And so someone stood up and they were very righteous about, you know, that shouldn't be a thing there, you know? And I wondered what he would say, because I didn't know. And there was this long, long pause, and this is what he said. He said, well, for me, these teachings and these instructions are my true north. They're the compass that I guide my life with. And I follow that compass so that I'm always aiming myself at truth, at my truth, at the truth. And you could have heard a pin drop, except for the dripping. And I sat there stunned because it was like you could feel the truth of what he was saying. And he went on and he said, you know, when you're dropped into a dark forest on a moonless night and you're lost, it's the compass that will help you find your way. So he wasn't saying, you need to take my compass. He was just saying, this is mine, and this is why I use it. So I'm going to end this talk by encouraging you to ask the question, what's my compass? What's so deeply true in me that when I follow that, I come alive? I am free. What is it in me that when I am tuned into that, I can hear the music of my own soul. I can feel the kingdom of heaven in those ancient words. And I know how to get there, how to live there, how to experience that. That's the question. And it's a question to be lived into. But I promise, that with awareness, there's an answer for you. It won't be the same answer as me, but there's an answer. And with intention and awareness, when we follow that truth, we become who we were meant to be in this lifetime and have such a gift to bring to the world, to stand for others as well as ourselves when suffering occurs. So I'll do a prayer for that. And then we'll invite the ushers to prepare for the offertory, and we'll invite Jesse and Yam back up. So join me in this prayer. In our tradition, prayer is active. It's not like you say it and nothing happens, but you have to agree to allow the prayer to work. So in your own mind, when you hear the prayer, if you like it and you think it'll work for you, say yes inside your mind. You can even say it out loud. I'm fine with that. So here is the prayer. I know for myself, and I know for everyone here, that there truly is a love that has no limit flowing in all of us, and a wisdom that goes beyond any human wisdom that can be revealed. It is the be-all and the end-all, the Alpha and the Omega, the kingdom of heaven, the true north of all experience, of all people. And it is deeply and profoundly individualized within every sacred human on the planet, within every species, within every plant, animal, mineral. That love and wisdom is flowing in different ways, in different expressions. And in you and in me, the same is true. And as it has individualized in me, there is a certain orientation, a certain call, a certain purpose, a certain way that is unique and true. So true that when I touch it, I resonate with love and wisdom. And my intention in this prayer is to not only remember that, but to again open to that so that the true way is revealed over and over as I move forward in my expression in this lifetime. Age is irrelevant to this truth. Young and old and all in between are guided. And so I accept the guidance as I move forward in my life, open to my true north, the compass that guides me into compassion and love. And I'm grateful for that guidance. I'm grateful for my own intention and awareness of it. And so I say thank you as we say together, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward, and Jesse and Yam are going to be with us, and they're going to sing a beautiful song.
This is a really simple one. You're welcome to sing along.
Yeah, into that thread of a limitless love. This is a love song to love itself, the source of love.
No.
Oh, another one.
Well,
Oh,
sort of. But
not yet.
this one, actually, I feel really moved by the message you just shared. That one of the things my teacher will often tell me is if I'm looking for using a map that says when I feel good, it must be on track, and when it feels bad, I must be off track. That's never going to work. And so, this is a song, a tribute to the mapless territory where sometimes things don't feel good, and yet there's a rightness to where we are, and there can be inexplicable peace even when we don't know what's going on. So. which happens a lot right now. Yeah. Peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Do you want to try that? Peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. Peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. Oh, peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. Peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. One more. Peace in my heart, even when I don't know where to start. Peace in my mind, even when I'm not fine. Peace in my heart. Oh, 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 oh. Peace in my mind. Oh, oh, oh. Peace in my heart. Oh, oh, oh. Peace.
Well, a couple of announcements for you. We had yet another incredible Gourmets for Good, and I got to go to this one, which was super fun, and that was Dougie and Christine's Giant Burgers. And so thank you to Dougie and Christine and Mary and all who helped. And how many of you went to that? Wonderful. It was wonderful. We're in the middle of that season, so if you're joining us for the first time, it's lovely. We have this opportunity to bid for a place at the table at different dinners, and the money all goes to the center to help us. And so we're in the midst of now actually getting to experience all that, so very fun. And we have a couple of things you might want to be involved in. If you self-identify as a man, the men's group is meeting today, and they meet not only in person but also on Zoom, and their fearless leader is Philip back there in the live stream booth there. Starts at noon. If you have any questions, I'm sure you could speak to him about that. Then we have a book study on the book Caste, C-A-S-T-E, that's starting on July 19th, and it's going to be going for 5 Tuesdays, and it's all on Zoom. We were trying to do in-person and Zoom, but so many people signed up for Zoom that Francine, who's one of our practitioners and leading the discussions, said, let's just keep it simple and do Zoom. So if you would like to be part of that book study, please register by Sunday the 17th, and we'll send you the Zoom link so that you can join that group. It goes from 5:30 to 7 on Tuesdays. And then we have this really fun thing happening, totally free, and it's put on by another of our practitioners, Heidi Ruth. And Heidi, I don't know if you know this, but she's an author and a writer, and has been writing for years and has a lot of really fun things that she does with writing. So she's offering Creativity as a Spiritual Practice, a writing workshop. And that's going to be, it's called Write from the Heart, W-R-I-T-E, Write from the Heart, Saturday, July 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's in person only because you have to be there to do this particular thing. And she would love you to register, and all the registrations can happen on our website, and just go to the registration button and it'll show you Right from the Heart, and you can sign up for that. Our beloved Clara, who is my administrative assistant, had a family emergency. And so she is going to be gone at the same time that I'm going camping. So the week of the 18th through the 21st, we wanted you to know that we'll be responding to email. Well, she'll be responding to email. I'm not sure I have access to Wi-Fi, and the office will be closed. And I think that's probably all, but I did want to touch on a couple of things that are happening here that either are not part of CSL, but we host gatherings, or they are part of CSL and they're coming up. So this Wednesday at 7 p.m. we're having a drum circle, and that's a CSL drum circle. We have so many percussion instruments that even if you don't have a drum, you're welcome to come. It's an hour long. We invite children to come because there's something super fun about drumming with all ages, and you don't have to have any experience. And it's this particular drum session, which is the second Wednesday of every month, is wild in a very fun way. So I invite you to go to that. We also have a wonderful woman who's part of the drum circle named Renee, who has started to offer gentle yoga classes here on Wednesdays. And that class starts at 4 and goes to 5:15. And it really is gentle. It's chair yoga for the most part with meditation. And if you would like to be a part of that, you certainly are welcome to join her in that. And then the last announcement we have, I announced last week that we needed volunteers for the Sacred Earth Fair, which is not our event, but we are sponsoring it and having them come and be on the grounds. And we got 19 volunteers, which was wonderful. And so now all I want to do is let you know that that's happening. It's happening July 31st, which is a Sunday, and it's happening from 1 to 5 here on the grounds. And there are so many people representing so many different organizations and ideas for how we can replenish, nourish, and restore our beautiful earth. And so I invite you to come and be a part of it. There's no charge. They always accept donations because the fair is costing them money, and the different faith communities are kicking in money, and we're kicking in grounds and supplies so that they can host that here. So you're invited to come and be a part of that. I also want to just give you a little taste of something that's coming up in August too, actually. Joe and I have a friend. He's actually the reason we met, one of the reasons, and he's coming to visit us for the first time since we moved up here 11 years ago. And he happens to be this incredibly talented man who fell in love with the poet Carl Sandburg. And he's also a musician. And so he has put together, with the nod from the Sandburg Family Trust, he's put together this presentation of Sandburg's poetry and writings and music. And so he's coming, it's absolutely free, and he's going to be presenting here at 7 o'clock on the last Sunday of the month. I think it's the 28th. And so you're welcome to come. It's going to be kind of like an in-house concert, except it's going to be here because our house isn't big enough. So Max will be here, and we hope you'll come. But the day before, from 1 to 6 o'clock, there is this extraordinary thing happening that's hard to talk about. Zena and I are part of helping it come together, but it's all due to this amazing couple, Robin and her wife Cypress, who own this incredible piece of property and apparently love bluegrass. And so when they moved here a year and a half ago, they called all the bars and said, "What's the best bluegrass band in this area?" And everyone said, the Queen's Bluegrass. Have you heard of them? Yeah, me either. But apparently they really are good. So she is hosting a sabbatical fundraiser for me. And part of what she's doing is bringing this band so that they can play, and she's paying for that and offering her property to us. And then she has all these wild ideas that are really fun for a family-friendly community picnic that raises money in all sorts of little ways as well. So that is the 27th. And you'll be hearing more about it, but just mark your calendars. If you have your phone, put it in there. And if you feel drawn, bring your family, because there's things for kids to do like slip and slides and penny pitches, and there's volleyball and all kinds of stuff going on, as well as dancing to the Queen's Bluegrass. So that's happening. So right now, why don't we invite this wonderful couple up to sing us out of here. And thank you for coming today. And thank you two for coming today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
Such an honor.
Would y'all like to learn a part of this, and then we can sing it, and then it sounds like people transition? Okay.
Which part?
I think definitely the first part.
Okay. This is what I was speaking of just a few moments ago. A love song to love itself, manifested as us. It goes like this. This is a rowdy one. I usually sing this in circles with people, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. Try this. Let's do an echo. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. Love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. Love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant.
So the second one, there's no love, love, love at the end.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's the basic. Yeah, let's do that together.
Yeah, that's right there.
1, 2, 3. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. Love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant.
Nice.
I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. Love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. I got this part. What would you have me do today? What would you have me say? I am your devoted servant, my love. I was born this way.
Let's all try it.
What would you have me do today? What would you have me say? I am your devoted servant, my love. I was born this way. Oh, 'cause I am the servant of love. Let me be your servant, love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant. Love, love, love. I am a servant of love. Let me be your servant.
What next?
Okay. I'm gonna free verse it. Let me serve you, love. Let me serve you. How can I serve you, love? Let me serve you, love, please. Let me serve you, love. Let me serve you. Woo-hoo. I am serve you, my love. Let me serve you, love. Let me serve you, love. Let me serve you, love. This is the important part. Sing if you want to. Sometimes I feel like I'm living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like I'm living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like I'm living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Bring it down. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside the greatest story love ever told. Thank you so much, love.
So nice.
Big shout out to
sing.
Love. Yeah.